to those who race. Who ride in the crucible where success and failure squeeze by, separated by only a thin, brittle line. Out of the silence, a familiar sound grew. Distant at first, but then louder. With an explosion of sound, the race was on.
'Cause you're a natural, I beat it hard as stone. You gotta be so
35 entered the arena, an unfolding story of twists and turns, unpredictable at every scene.
Hello and welcome to the InGear Motorsport British GT Championship.
Let me see the light within the dark trees shadowing what's happening.
Old favourites returned to the stage to show they'd lost none of their lustre. Those left in the chasing pack turned to bickering, clawing and scratching. Like an action movie, it kept you on the edge of your seat. Bravery, excitement, beauty. Some plots evolved, storylines changed. Heroes and villains switching in a moment. An epic tale requires a perfect backdrop. This one was altered to fit every episode. As we approach the final act, what drives them all on? Is it the thought of glory? Which in the end can only fall to one man. So, a salute to those who race, to those who win and lose, succeed and fail in the blink of an eye. A great story has an ending just as captivating. Now we await the final scene. Lights out. Camera action. InGear Motorsport. A salute to those who race.
Hello, everybody, and very warm welcome to our final race of our British GT Championship. It feels like it's flown by over the last couple of months, but we've reached round 7 and we're back to Donington Park for a second time. But it's a lot drier on the track this time than last time we were here, and I'm sure a lot of the drivers would be quite pleased about it. One or two of the Scots perhaps would have liked to have some more rain again. But all looking very tight for the last part of the championship. 7 drivers still mathematically can win the championship this evening, around the 2.5 miles of the Donington circuit, and it's the final race, so to spice things up a little bit, it's 2 hours long as well. Hello to those of you on YouTube comments already. Arnold Das managed to get away from the driver's seat for a minute to say hello. D Lewis over there as well, good to see you, thanks for joining the stream. CB36 and whoever is watching over on Twitch as well. Let's just do the usual thing and go through the format of this evening so that you're all happy, and Charlotte can say hello as well. She's joining me here in the commentary box.
I thought you was going to forget about me then.
I wouldn't dare forget about you.
Yeah, no, looking forward to it. Can't believe it's the last round. Feel like we've been going on for a few weeks with this one now, but at the same time it's gone fast. So we shall see what's in store.
Indeed we will, and as you can see on the screen, it's qualifying at the moment. The drivers have just started. It's a 15-minute qualifying session. There's a short interval for them to make any last little adjustments between that and then the race starting at 10 to 8 in our UK time. And from there, we'll be then going on into the 2-hour-long race. So it's quite a big challenge for people. I mean, Charlotte, you've done endurance racing more than I have. What's it like putting in 2 hours worth of driving?
Yeah, last time I did it was, I think I did like an hour and 50 minutes stint. So yeah, not far off. It's pretty full on. Very intense as well in terms of like concentration levels. So I think the biggest thing is knowing that these races aren't won on the first couple of laps. So it's just about being really, really sensible and having a different mindset kind of going into it really. So it'll be interesting to see how these guys handle that, because I think we've definitely seen how they've adjusted to the 1 hour format from the 30 minutes before, but it's now like this next step. I think 2 hours really probably is the limit of concentration levels for this as well. So who's going to keep some energy in the tank really for the last 20 minutes or so, because that's where it will happen tonight.
Definitely. So stay tuned right until the end, because as we said, somebody will be crowned British GT champion. But let's jump into qualifying then, shall we, and see how everyone's getting on. And track's looking a little bit gloomier than it was in those little shots that we had for the screens just now. But you can see drivers are out on track in the middle of qualifying. And we are looking at Harry Melvin at the moment, who's just coming up on the back of Renberg during qualifying. So they've got these 15 minutes, 10.5 to go to set the fastest lap time. The driver with the fastest lap time, of course, starts at the front, and then so on throughout the rest of the grid. Now, Harry was looking good in practice just now, our InGear Motorsport driver. Sole InGear Motorsport driver for the time being, but shout out again to Chrissy, who normally races for us, but is helping in the background with stewarding and picking up on any incidents that happen during the race, so that they can be swiftly dealt with, should they need to be. And race director can come down with the hammer if he needs to. So that was Harry just going to P2 at the moment. Currently Dom Stallman is on provisional pole, a name we're used to seeing at the top of the timing boards. Nice to see as well that we've made it to the very end of this and still got a grid of 22 drivers. So we've lost a few since the start, but for the most part, we've still got a solid grid that have decided to see it through to the end, because that is normally when you start to see people fade out, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because that happens in the real world as well, usually because people have run out of budget, to be fair, by that point.
For the motivation.
Yeah, exactly. Budgets get quite difficult. But yeah, no, it's been a really good grid as well. And I think the benefit of these guys coming back week after week is actually they're learning how to race against one another now. And I think there's a lot to be said to that going into a championship where you kind of know where you're at, you know the pack that you're up against, and you learn sort of traits, and it's about having that level of detail. And it's one of them as well. It's like knowing who you're playing against. So I've had complete brain failure, but who was our goalkeeper?
Pickford.
Pickford, yeah. I saw it earlier that he has notes on whoever would take penalties on the opposing team strapped to his water bottle. Now, it just shows how that preparation of knowing who you're up against is really, really important, level of detail, and it goes across different sports. And that's what these guys, I doubt that they've got notes written on who's who, but they know who everyone is.
Yeah, and like you say, you can relate to the real world a little bit in the same way where you start to know different drivers, who you perhaps can put that move on, who you should expect a move from. give that bit of extra space or not, and all these types of little things. So there is provisional championship leader Bucking on your screens at the moment in the E-Team Brit car. However, one of the things that's unique about this championship, not really unique, a lot do it, but for sim racing, I don't see as many doing it. We allow drivers to drop their worst score, so essentially everyone has to delete their worst score so that everyone gets a second chance, basically, or if they have to miss a race because of other commitments, etc. It just gives them something that keeps them still in the running a bit. Now, on drop scores, Bucking actually falls down to P2 by 1 point. So first and second, Dom Stallman and Bucking on drop scores, very, very close. But then it's not too far back. You've got Bjorkman, who's sadly not racing tonight, Harry Melvin, who we're just looking at, Bart van Menekes, who only joined after the first round, has been chipping away at it. He's got some solid points.
How to pronounce his name properly. He said he was going to send one.
There you go, Bart, if you're watching this back, we're waiting. See those lovely Dutch tones coming through on a voice clip. But yeah, so good to have him. And actually, it's a mix of nationalities in the top 6 as well, or top 5 technically. So a nice little mix out there. Who have we got? I was going to say let's jump on board with Stallman, but he's just gone into the pits. Dom Stallman, that is. So we may as well jump on board with Bucking, and I'll show you around the 2.5 miles of the Donington Park circuit. Got expanded a little few years back now. I couldn't tell you the exact year, but it got expanded to increase it to 2.5 miles. Mostly added that Melbourne hairpin, the newer section that disappears past the chicane and goes straight on down into a hairpin. 2 hairpins, in fact. So Bucking is about to cross the line. You can ride on board then as we head into Redgate corner, and you can see drivers waiting to come out of the pits, and actually just getting out of the way in time there. That's always a bit of a tricky one when you're trying to negotiate what to do. That's Billingham getting out of the way as well in the blue and orange Bentley. So he did lose a 10th there. Whether that was because of the other cars, I don't know, but it's a very difficult pit exit.
I was just going to say it's probably one of the hardest ones out of all the tracks that we've had on the calendar this year. There's a very short window of exiting the pits and going into turn 1, and it's a fast kind of turn 1 in that respect. So yeah, people are going to really have to have their wits about them when the pit stops, because it'll be interesting to see, are we going to have a 2 pit stop strategy or a 1 pit stop strategy going into the race.
I'll be interested to see if anyone tries a 2-stopper. Technically, the cars can make it with 1, so it's still a 1-stop mandatory stop in the race. So yeah, like you say, that's going to be interesting to see. Coming up then into the newer section of the lap, so you go through that very fast chicane. The tyre wall looks like it's already been obliterated. That sits on the inside. Drop downhill, and it's downhill braking, so it runs away from you a little bit if you're not careful. There is a nice amount of runoff space, but trying to get a fast lap hooked up. I've just noticed Bucking's actually invalidated this lap as well. Current, as I say, championship leader before drop scores, but he is also running with 30 kilograms of ballast. And I've just realised we haven't got Mitchell, who came second in the last race. So that's a shame that he's not here tonight. He was 10th in the championship, so he could have jumped up a few more spaces there. But yeah, basically they run success ballast if anyone's joining us for the first few times. Let us know, by the way, say hello. Let us know if it's your first stream watching. It'd be good to know who's here and what other streams you might watch, and if you're new to motorsport or other sim leagues or anything like that. So, still chasing for a better grid here, Bucking. He's currently P6. Now you can see in the top left it goes green next to the lap time. That means that his delta is essentially 2/10 quicker than his best lap currently. So he'll be hoping to see this out as he gets a little bit of oversteer there, and then you see that timer just drops back down. While he's finishing off this lap, why don't we just bring up the overall timings so everyone can see who's where. If you're looking out for a particular driver tonight, then you can see the top 22.
Typical my mum, watching on WhatsApp. Hi mum.
Come say hello on YouTube. Looks better. Ah, Martin's here. Martin, how's it going? You all primed and ready to give Phil a driver of the day point? Also, Martin, it's 2 points for driver of the day this time, so we'll see how many people rally the troops to try and get that. Right then, if we come back to just see what Bucking's up to, he's coming up on his teammate here, Sandro Ballesteros, one of the other E-Team drivers, who actually has just got in the way a little bit and cost him about half a tenth. So no improvement in terms of position, but a few hundredths quicker for Bucking there. He goes through Redgate one more time. Let's see if Mr. Dom Stallman's back on the track somewhere, shall we? Harry is on provisional pole at the moment with a 1:26.9.
Harry's got a bit of a different attitude going into this one today. I think we dropped in and spoke to him before the race started. I think he's in with a shout of the championship, isn't he? So he's definitely quite hungry for it. So yeah.
Just seen, yeah, no, I agree. I was chatting to him earlier or yesterday, and he was kind of saying, "Oh, I feel like I've got to put it out for this one." Like so, I just seen Danny P is over on Twitch. He messaged me earlier as having internet trouble, which is clearly still going on. It's Virgin Media, mate. You need to get that dealt with. Although I say that, we have Virgin Media in the office, and it does play up.
It does. It does.
Sky is slower but more reliable. Virgin's faster but has issues. A bit like some of the drivers, I guess, isn't it?
It's exactly like some drivers.
You can put those fast laps in, but struggle with the longer stints, which we're going to see that tonight.
Yeah, I think we will see. Who, on that note then, I know we'll come to the closing stages of qualifying, but who are you predicting to do very well?
I've got a good feeling about Harry tonight. Thinking about it, Bart's looking good in P2 there. He's also a pretty solid driver, doesn't tend to make many mistakes. I'd like to see Kirk do well after the, should we just say that the bad race he had at Alton Park in that Lamborghini. So it'd be good to see if Kirk Keith can pull himself a little bit higher up. I wonder if Warren's watching tonight, actually. If he roped Warren into watching for the final or not. Warren, let us know if you're there.
Yeah, it's probably worth mentioning as well that Buchan's probably got the hardest time out of everyone today, because he's now going to be lugging around that extra 30 kilos of weight, isn't he, going into this? So he's got it pretty tough, and then French is going to be lugging around an extra 10 kilos, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it certainly does affect it, and we have actually seen that, and I think the ballast has worked really well, hasn't it, where you can see things starting to even out as a result.
It has just slowed them down at the right times. I think like Dom Stallman, who I see Danny has just not voted for, but put his money on for tonight. I mean, it's always the safe bet, isn't it? It'd normally be like betting on Germany to beat England in football, but
can we just not?
I suppose we're not over it yet. But we managed that one. It was just the final we didn't manage. So could the German driver be in for an upset this championship, or will he do what he's done so well and just consistently bang those laps in and do enough to win the championship? We shall see. Could we jump to Ollie Moss, please, Mr. Race Director? He's running a new livery tonight, which it's nice to see. Race Director is clearly updated because you can see it. Done his job there. The Volante McLaren, I think it's a team that he started racing with separately, so can have a little look around that as he goes through. I mean, if we ask nicely, Race Director might even show you around the car up close. Here he comes.
Nice.
Race Director being Ben Meekle, of course. And we're just in time to see it doing a big skid and into the wall. Clearly not the best lap there for Ollie Moss. And back to the pits.
Maybe he knew that we wanted to have a look. Let's go with that.
Well, we've actually figured out in the past that he listens to the stream, I think, in the background while he's driving, so could have just potentially completely ruined that lap for him. So sorry, Ollie, if so, but Commentator's curse doing its job. So qualifying drawing to a close. It looks like Harry's still out on a lap, but it's been invalidated. Who is still out there? Because when it goes to 0, they can still finish their laps if they want. 10 kilograms is a couple of curries and a few pints. Yeah, 30k for the leader, I guess, but the 10k you could probably deal without. So I'm just trying to see. Tyler's still on a lap. We never actually show much of Tyler, but you can see him. Dom Stallman is still on a lap. Oh, he's just invalidated it. Piston Gone is still on a lap. Blestros is still on a lap. Oh, it's Dom Stallman that's still going. It was Roland that I just saw in the background, so yeah. We can see on your screen he's about to finish and decides to practice a pit entry instead. I think that is probably a good time to go to a quick break, and then we'll be back with the full grid order in just a few minutes. Here we go then, everybody. Welcome to the Leicestershire-based Donington Park. Bit drier than last time we were here, and the drivers are on the grid and ready to rock and roll in just a couple of moments' time. Once that timer ticks down, they'll do a formation lap, and then we'll be on our way for the final race after all these months of racing. 7 rounds. It's the 2-hour finale at Donington Park. So let's go through your grid order for tonight's race then. So Harry Melvin for InGear Motorsport back on top there, doing a good job in pole position. Very, very close though. It was literally a matter of hundredths to him and then Bart van Manikes in P2. Dom Stallman in P3. He's in that championship hunt, of course, as well. Ollie Moss in P4 in that McLaren, looking nice and fast and getting quicker the more laps he'd done. So interested to see what he can do. He invalidated one of his last laps where he was going quicker, so he could well be in for a couple grid places higher up by the end. Heath in P5. That's good to see, isn't it?
Yeah, really good.
So good result by him. Buchan, championship leader, or as I say on drop scores, there's 1 point between him and Dom Stallman in P6 with that 30 kilograms of ballast. He's in for a very, very tricky couple hours, I'm sure. Curran in P7 for Spearhead Race Engineering. P8 is French. He's always been solid, top 5s, top 10s throughout this entire series. So again, good to see him in the mix. Roland Stallman, the other Vega Sim Performance driver, been with us for a while. The Stallmans, it's still nice that they've again made it to the end of another series, both of them. And then Hudson in P10 in his McLaren.
Yeah.
Got a interesting strategist on board for tonight's race. Perhaps you can tell us a bit about.
So yeah, my dad was giving me the lowdown on what strategies they're going for with this one. So yeah, it's all getting very serious in the Burridge Hudson household when it comes to this now. But yeah, really good to see this. Had a little bit of bad luck the last couple of races, so he needs to finish this one. We need to get him to the end.
Yeah,
so,
I think he's under strict orders from strategist to finish at all costs. And then Renberg in P11. Harry Melvin just going off onto the grass in the back of shot there.
Hopefully that's him getting it out of the system.
He was just practicing in case he needs to use it on the opening lap for some reason. Ariatsu Isner is in 12th, so Hamish in point scoring position then, because points run down to 12th place. Again, another driver who's just gone from strength to strength throughout the course of the championship. A little bit of a hiccup with blue flags at the end of Alton Park's race last time out, but speed-wise getting better all the time. So good to see Hamish still again with E-Team Brit. Corbin also for E-Team Brit. If you've seen our We Salute Those Who Race video that just went up, Corbin was loving the fact that we included his big crash at Alton Park in that. Go check that out if you haven't yet. Billingham in P14 for Attack Vector, Bedoya in P15, Sharman for West Midlands in 16th, Spooner for E-Team in 17th, Tyler in 18th, Phil Lima, who managed to find time to come and comment and say how badly he'd just done, his own words, not mine. Actually, you know, he's not right at the back, he's got a few behind him. Arnold Gattis in P20, Balestros 21st, he's a little bit out of position actually, he should probably be looking to come forward a bit. And then rounding out the grid is Piston Gone in 22nd place. So, not quite the full 35 we had at round 1, but a really strong turnout considering we are 7 rounds deep into this championship. So, the drivers weaving side to side. Got Harry there on pole position in that black AMG with the orange stripe down the front and some orange cogs. And if you look closely, you'll occasionally see a picture of Ben Meikle on the roof, who is the race director, because why not? Then Bart in that black and gold AMG in P2. Just realised AMG 1-2. That's the first time we've actually had the same manufacturer on the front row in quite a while.
Yeah, it's been very mixed, hasn't it, the whole way through this championship. Thing is, actually, if you look at it now, it still is, isn't it? Okay, there's an AMG front row lockout, but then you've got the McLaren, Aston, Lambo, Lexus, Audi, all within the top 6. So really good effort there.
Just looking at Danny P wants to know if you're racing in the next series.
That's what I was giggling around when I saw it. I probably still need to do more than a 50 laps experience.
I've just seen Mark message me, Mark Miller, separately as well. Good to see you've tuned in, Mark. Drivers approach their last corner, and I'll come back to D. Lewis in a moment. So, here we go then. Final approach, heading into Redgate at turn 1. Harry on the left, Bart on the right, Ollie Moss behind him, and Stallman behind on the left. Lights are out, and we're racing at Donington Park. The drivers head off down to turn 1. Looks like Harry's got away pretty well. You see Kirk Heath popping out in that Lamborghini, the menacing mouth in the background. Actually clips the back of Moss's car, but I think Kirk actually come off worse than that. I can't see how far back he dropped, but it looks like he may have lost 2 or 3 places. But actually, Stallman is now challenging Benikes for the lead. Gives Harry a little bit of a gap. barely manages to swap back to the other side. Must have just about brushed there. Bart goes a little bit deep as we then head into halfway round the lap. And Moss is trying to go round the outside, which will then give him the inside into the next right-hand corner when they reach the top of the hill there. Oh, that was looking close. And in fact, Moss, I don't know what happened there, if he braked on the grass or what, but he looked like he ended up going sideways across the apex. Lucky he didn't get collected, or didn't collect anyone else, but potentially hearing talk that he may have been hit in my ear, so we'll find out about that in a minute. Chrissy's in the background looking into that stuff, as is George, by the way. I haven't given him a shout out yet. But opening lap then, so far not so bad, but Ollie Moss, definitely something happened there that we'll be looking into. But Melvin gets away then, and actually that's a pretty dream start, isn't it?
Yeah. That's probably the most aggressive that I've seen Dom on the opening couple of corners in a long time. He knows that he needed to make that move and make it stick pretty quickly on Menakes. So he'll be now hunting down Harry. Harry will know exactly what Stallman is up to here as well. So he's really got to get the hammer down and just crack on and get away from it. If we can see Buchan in that Lexus, who looks fairly quick to at least get onto the back and apply some pressure onto Stallman, they could create a little bit of battle between themselves there. And again, that would just give Harry a little bit of sort of breathing space to just get his head down for the last couple.
Yeah, we just saw him in the back of shot. You may have caught it. He overtook Bart into the Melbourne hairpin, so the first part of that sort of newer section of the track. So yeah, up into P3. Like Charlotte says, looking a bit dicey as Buchan. But that 30 kilograms, and in fact, as we say that, Bart goes back through on the inside. Again, keeping our eyes peeled to see if we can find out about the incident with Moss. Okay, so we'll find out about that soon. And we've got Renberg also had a bit of a nightmare further down the grid. We should be able to get some replays and things sorted out, but worst case, you can check out the Instagram, Facebook and Twitter socials, and we'll be posting the clips over on there.
Yeah, they come up live as live gets in that scenario.
Pretty close to live.
Yeah.
Oh, you can see French looking on Buchan there. That was good driving by both of them not to connect. I think he kind of just fell into that move. He wasn't necessarily looking for it because French isn't one to dive bomb. Buchan gave him just enough room, and French went onto the grass to give him that little bit more room, and they both get round. So the battle for third is definitely heating up a bit. That's released Dom Stallman. You can see in that blue Aston just crossing the start-finish line, coming into turn one. He's released to catch or try and catch Harry in the lead. But yeah, dream start for the InGear Motorsport driver after a couple harder races. He's now right up at the front end. Just having a little look at the background to see what happened with this Moss incident. Yeah, I guess we'll try and get the replays up anyway, but looks like he's kind of on the outside and just caught the other car. But right, let's have a little look at the running order if we dare for a moment. If we bring up the standings so you can all see who's where. So Melvin leads, Dom Stallman P2, Bart Van Minikes P3, Buchan P4, French P5, Heath P6, Moss P7, Curran P8, Billingham P9 and Hudson in P10. Now Hudson had got up to P8 and has just dropped back a couple. So that rounds out your top 10, and then Stallman, Roland Stallman and Corbin in P12. So there's a fight for that last point as well.
Yeah, sorry, just looking back at that, Ollie is very lucky to not get collected there, and actually I would say that was maybe a little bit self-inflicted.
It looks like the rear end just sort of almost loses it's like it snaps rather than he actually has contact. It's hard to tell.
I think there was a little bit of contact, but yeah, he literally just nips through them. Very lucky with that one. That could have been a lot worse.
Well, let's have a quick glance at comments as Dom Stallman runs wide.
Yeah, so we're just looking as well. Chris has just said that Billingham is to do with that incident with Renberg. So yeah, we will have a look into that one. We're trying really hard at the moment that if there is penalties that do need to be issued, that we're going to issue them in race, because it's a 2-hour long race. So yeah, we know that Billingham's had a little bit of a reputation for this. Couple of races he's had a bit of contact. So yeah, we'll have a look, see if it's worth whatever, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, it's interesting the people it takes to put these together, because we say we've got Chrissy in the background helping, looking into incidents. George can kind of do that while he's doing social media clips, and then we've got Ben running the actual camera angles, while Charlotte and I just get to sit here and chat, if only.
Yeah.
But yeah, quite busy, particularly with 2 hours to try and make sure we get through. Looks like the top three are settling down a little bit though. So we're just looking at Moss at the moment, who is chasing Kirk Heath, who we had that little moment with. I mean, Moss was very lively on that opening lap, was he? Potentially was going to gain a couple of places. Just so happens with that little incident with going around the outside of Bart that he lost a couple of places again. But it's good that he's still in the race and still able to do something. You know, we are 6 minutes into 2 hours, so plenty of opportunity to come back, plenty of opportunity for others to have their errors later on. And then we've got Curran just behind him for Spearhead with the purple wing mirrors on that black and gold looking Audi. Spearhead actually looking pretty good for the team championship, by the way, on 96 points versus 83 to Vegas in, and then E-Team Brit 2, which is on 65 points. So again, it's you know, very close considering, you know, we've done 7 races worth of driving now.
Yeah, really close. And actually, if you look at it, I'm just looking back through the points here, that no one has been overly dominant over the course of the championship. So
yeah, we've had a few winners.
Yeah. So we've had Stallman's won around, Buchan's won around, Bjorkman's won around. Harry is yet to win a round. He's had a couple of second positions. So considering as well, it's probably worth pointing out, he's had a DNF and he couldn't race on one of them, or has had no points.
Yeah.
So, you know, effectively his drop scores are probably as bad as it gets in that side of things.
Yeah, because he still has 2 bad ones. Yeah.
He had 2 really bad ones of 0 points, and he's still put himself up in contention there. So he's done a really good job with that. And I'm actually just looking, he's had 3 second positions, sorry. So actually, as the all-rounder, he's actually been the consistent one.
A few times the runner-up, not yet the winner of a race. Yeah. So tonight could change that. Absolutely. So you can see Moss is getting closer and closer to Kirk. Kirk's looking a bit more settled in that Lamborghini this week. If we sit on the rear wing of it, perhaps, then just to mix things up a little bit, then you might catch a nice view of that McLaren chasing him down. Or if we sit on Kirk's rear wing, shall we say. Not sure what Danny means over on Twitch. What about Paulina? She was starting to get into it at one point as well, wasn't she? Well, he made her join a couple of races with him. I don't know if she did a lot, but... So, where are we at? So it looks like Kirk's hanging on to that for a minute, and as we say it, actually Moss drops back a little bit as well.
Do we have to check out and see where Mr. Hudson is? Check on him, so I know that we've got a few people that...
I just saw Billingham goes off, but yes, we can check on Hudson as well. But Billingham just having a bit of a moment, dropping down to P12. Hudson's now right on the back of him. In fact, this could be a good one to watch. If we go to Hudson, please, Mr. Race Director. You can see he's just coming on to the back of that Bentley.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just watching something there. What do you think to that? We're just watching a replay between Billingham and... That's a Snetterton Speciale there.
Yeah, just very late on the brakes again, wasn't it? Just think we'll get that replay ready for you in a minute as well.
We're just watching Hudson and Billingham on here, and they do have a little bit of unsettled business from Snetterton, don't they? Where was it Billingham who ploughed into the back of Ian?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? So Ian's probably being very cautious here, and rightly so. You know, just don't get caught up in it. Just keep chipping away at this and watch. But this. I mean, Ian's got no experience, as far as we know, of an extended race like anything over an hour so far, has he? So this is going to be quite a big challenge anyway. So good to see that he's getting stuck in and getting on with it. And doing well as well. His pace is good. You actually think where Ian was at the start of his championship, he'd never even raced properly on here, had he? Done a little bit of time.
He'd done a bit of the Euro Series before. Didn't he? Done a couple of races.
Yeah, but nothing compared to what these guys are doing, the amount of time and laps, everything, and time set on setups and stuff, is minimal.
Yeah, that's good to see. With his skull and crossbones, you can't quite see it from in the car, but I need to ask him the thought behind that at some point. Well, he's dropped back just a tiny bit, although he is about to set his personal best lap of the race so far, because you can see it's green in the top left on the Delta. In the McLaren. McLaren's clearly not a slow car around here, because Moss was reeling in Heath with it just a few cars up the road. But, we can see Bjorkman's in. Yeah, absolutely, cool. Well, at least you've made it to the live stream, Rob. Good to see you, everyone there. Hope the vacation's fun wherever you've gone to. But yeah, keep the comments coming, everyone. I did see Mr. D. Lewis over there talking about Mercedes World, which is right at the race start when you said it. But yeah, that suspended view that's on display is really cool over there. It's been there since pretty much day one, I think. They changed a lot of the stuff, but that one's always been too popular to change.
I was going to say they was meant to change it, I think, years ago, and it has been such a popular feature that it didn't move to like one of the other brand centres. So yeah, we've managed to keep hold of it, which is good.
There we are. We normally go half race distance, but I think we can just we'll allow driver of the day votes as we go. Good to see everyone coming in. What else we got? Just Danny over on Twitch seeing himself out still. Every then. Talks in riddles sometimes. Cool. Yeah, if you're watching for the first time or you have any questions for Charlotte or I in commentary, let us know and we'll do our best to answer them as we go through. Right, we best keep an eye on some of these gaps. So if we just bring the timing screen up, 'cause it doesn't look like Ian's going to make a move any time just yet. You can see that you've got Melvin still in the lead, 4 seconds ahead of Buchan, who is then 2 seconds ahead, 2 seconds behind Dom. Bart is in P4, so managed to make that stick then, Buchan earlier on, and then French in P5. So French has actually gained a few places since the start of this race. And we can bring our eyes back to this battle. I feel like it's going to happen soon. It's just teeing it up.
Yeah, sorry, I was just looking. I'm looking between two screens here. Max Spooner has actually done very well in the time. So he qualified in P18 and he's managed to claw his way up a few spaces there. So he's now running in P14. So good to see that from Team Ebrin. It's been really good to have these guys on board this championship. I think we've had three teams of them, haven't we, over the course of it? Because it's such a big, wider team that they split them down. So that's worked really, really well. And actually, it's really nice to see that they're all in all sort of parts of the grid as well, aren't they? With that, so with Buchan being the strongest one out of them so far in this championship.
Yeah, I mean, Corbin was pretty quick early on. I remember at Brands and at Silverstone. But yeah, Buchan's really just gone from strength to strength throughout the races here. As you see, Curran facing the wrong way at the last corner in his Audi that managed to avoid him just. I wonder what happened there. So again, guys, we're looking into that one. We'll find out as well if we've got that replay or not ready for the incident with Billingham at the start, hitting Renberg. Had the official, yeah, hang on, race director.
Ian is on the back of him, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm just conscious to make sure we don't miss anything further up as well. French is a second behind Bart, so he's catching Bart a little bit by the looks of it. But and Corbin is also quite close. So they've both just come onto the back of Hamish. If we come back out to a wider view, you'll see Billingham's about to potentially challenge Hamish Eisner. So if we go one further up. See the Bentley then looking at the back of the Lamborghini, and points go down to 12, remember, so they're all in points positions at the minute, but of course the further up they get, especially while it's double, is better. So we shall see. Billingham then goes down the inside into the Melbourne Loop. Is he going to make it stick? Yes, he does. So Billingham up into P9, that will be. And Hudson is still sitting there in P11, just knocking on the doors of coming up to have a little chance. Fancies himself a top 10. He, of course, started P10. So has definitely got the pace to just go those couple positions higher up.
Yeah, and Easter's not letting Bingham get away with this, is he? He's right on the back of his bumper going into turn 1 there. He's applying some proper pressure there. I thought he was actually going to go for a bit of a dig back. Actually, as he run wide there, that's allowed Hudson to get through, which was a nice one to take advantage of, wasn't it?
That's basically a freebie, isn't it? Have that on the plate.
Yeah, take if you see it, go for it.
Especially 15 minutes in, free positions, always a good sign. Okay, so Hamish will be looking to obviously bring that one back, but Ian will be pleased with probably a smile in the inside of that. McLaren and Billingham are just slightly ahead. So we'll see if we can pick that up later on. Let's just jump up and see how French is getting on, because he was getting quite close. We've just also found out that Curran's incident was just he lost the rear end. So if we've got any Curran fans, he just had a little bit of driver error on the last corner. Whatever it was, I haven't seen the full thing yet, but yeah, that's all that was.
I think it was just a spin. Bjorkman, which teams had the most championship wins? With stacked by Paula. I will have a look. I've got my sheet that's already got loads of different notes all over it, so I'm gonna have to do some.
I think Bucking. Oh no, Bucking and Dom. Yeah, I'll let you have a look through for sure. But I think at the top of my head, Bucking and Dom are both 2 apiece.
Yeah, I'm looking here. Yeah, it is Team Egret 2, or the second team of Egret, and yeah, Vegas Sim Performance. It is literally 2 and 2. 2 and 2. But going into this round, it is actually Spearhead Race Engineering that in the lead had quite a big lead as well, with 96 points, in Vegas Sim Performance with 83, and then another, and then in P3 in the team championship was Team Egret with 65 points. So actually some big chunks there, but again, going into this, remember the points are double, so there's a lot at stake with this one as well.
Yeah, and it's looking like Billingham has got a 5-second penalty gone through for that collision at the start, just taking Renberg out under braking, which I think we've got a replay for. Race director obviously has to do a mix of issuing penalties and managing the stream for us. Man of many talents, fueled by Monster Energy, helps him get through these live streams. And there we are, so we can play that replay for you.
Danny over in Twitch just asked, what's the longest race that either of us have competed in? Mine was a 6-hour in the pissing down rain as well.
That was Brands Hatch, wasn't it?
It was freezing. Yeah, was she there?
I was there, but you were doing that with Donnelly, I think. Yeah, so I didn't actually race in it. I was a spectator that day.
Freezing, such hard track conditions, but really enjoyed it. It was in November as well, so as you can imagine, it was really, really fun. But yeah, 6 hours is a good one as well, because that's when it really is difficult. We actually had 3 drivers in the team. One of them was more of a than a pro, so me and Martin picked up the longer stints in it. I think between us we did 4 and a bit hours. So yeah, a good one.
I think for me, I've technically done a 24-hour kart race, which was a charity event, so I could say that. But in terms of actual car racing, it's probably the stuff we did in Lotus, which, what was the stints? It was only 30 minutes each. No, I think we did 2-hour race, didn't we? So one of them was 2 hour. Did an hour each.
Yeah, hour and a half.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So most of my stuff was all sprint racing in real world.
Yeah.
But a little bit of endurance. Yeah, found that quite weird to start with. Driver swaps is a whole different thing, isn't it? To learn and the timings, and you've got to make sure you get the straps ready, and
the actual pit stops itself, a race can literally be, you can just throw away every bit of hard work coming into pits. It's so easy to speed as well, because you've got so much adrenaline in you. You haven't got in the cars that I was in, you didn't have a limiter going in, so you really are. That's where it really, really is teamwork, because really for a pit stop to work properly, I reckon if I probably counted off the top of my head very quickly, there was a bit of 6-7 people there making a pit stop work.
Yeah, it's so overlooked, isn't it, as a way to find time. I mean, even here, you don't have straps to undo. You don't have to start and stop a timer when you come in the pits and do a lot of that real world stuff. You just drive in the pits. And still, it's very difficult, because you have sometimes that menu the drivers have to use to adjust their settings to tyre pressures, take tyres, don't take tyres, how much fuel to add. So it's a slightly different challenge in sim racing in comparison. Just looking then, we're looking at Dom Stallman Mark Buchan all over the back of Dom Stallman. And I just seen on another screen that Hudson got through on Billingham as well for P9. So we'll see if we can pick that up. And in fact, if we can clip a replay, people in the background of Hudson car number 333 overtaking Billingham just now on lap 13. There you go.
That was a good one.
We'll show that to everyone in stream.
Cheering behind the screen then, because that was very, very nicely done.
And everyone then curses at me. But yeah, we're watching Dom Stallman in the blue Aston Martin for Vegas Sim Performance being chased down by Buchan in the E-Team Brit Lexus. That Lexus has been a strong car actually throughout this series. It's not really had an overly weak track, but it's had really strong tracks.
I think it's probably been the best all-rounder as a car. It just seems that he's always been there or thereabouts, where we have seen that. Dom, doesn't matter what car he's in, he always gets the absolute max out of it. But actually, I don't think that Aston Martin has been the strongest over this championship. I mean, a perfect example, we saw that Heath really struggled in the BMW, actually threw away his championship points to do a change there and go back to the Lamborghini. So there's a lot to be said for that, isn't there, and getting in the car that you're comfortable with.
Yeah, definitely. It does make a difference, especially in endurance, doesn't it? You know, when you've got to make it stay on the track for the whole race.
Yeah.
And not be throwing it off. See, Danny likes the sound of that, just not the cold bit. Honestly, you don't have that to worry about in sim racing either.
It was so cold, like it was ridiculous, but yeah. Because it was an into the night one as well. So we started, I think, at like 2:30 or 3 in the afternoon. No, it must, probably about 2, and then obviously the light goes by about 4, doesn't it? So he just seen someone off in the background there, but I think that was
Sandro Lestros getting out of the way. Yeah, he actually done a good job of it. He let Dom and Buchan through fairly cleanly.
Now I think we should check in with Mr. Harry Melvin, because we've kind of left him to it for the last 20 minutes or so to let him get some space, but actually he's
doing a good job.
Really done a good job, hasn't he? So can we just pull up the main screen and just see what the gap is? So it's currently a 6-second gap. So a few laps ago that was a 4-second between Stallman and Melvin. And between Buchan and Stallman, there was a 2-second gap, which is slowly, lap by lap, he's actually managing to take around 4 to 5 tenths out of him. So that's something to definitely watch there, because he's definitely reeling him in, isn't he? But Stallman usually responds to things like that.
Yeah, he's good at managing pace and tyres and you know, that bigger picture like during a race. So be interesting to see how it sort of develops later on. You know, we're still only just coming up to a quarter of the way through. Long way to go. We suspect most drivers will stop around the hour mark. It's completely up to them when they do want to stop though. No pit window for this race like there is normally, just to give them a bit more freedom over strategy. I imagine most will probably just need a full tank to take them to halfway and then stop and go again. So often it's just not proving worth it. I mean, all logic would make me say that extra, 15-20 seconds, whatever it is for tyres, you could probably make back in an hour, but then even that's only just. Or you can just bag the 15 seconds there and then. And a lot of them opt to save the time straight away.
I think I'd go for new tyres.
Yeah, we'll have to try and see if we can
when there's a bit of fatigue kicking in naturally anyway in yourself, and then you're trying to like manhandle this car around a circuit where the tyres are going off, that's really challenging. So I would go for new tyres. I'd have to work it out properly. I mean, I'd have to do more than 50 laps on the game, but that's what I would do real well.
I was just looking the next battle up the road. There's actually 2 cars that are coming close to being lapped, but it's Piston Gone and Tyler. If we just jump to that, we'll keep an eye on what's going on with... Well, actually, just as I said that, it looked like...
No, let's stay on board with this. Let's see how Harry handles this, because he's now got back markers. It's something that we've been keeping an eye on in the championship. We know that some drivers haven't been responding to them in quite the right way. So I think you put a nice message out on the Discord chat earlier on this afternoon, a little driver's briefing for everyone. So we'll see how this responds, because ultimately, Piston God, that's not his surname, is it? Like,
No,
what's that?
I don't actually know his real name. I don't know if he's ever told us.
Okay. So the Bentley and the Aston Martin, they are racing between one another, and actually the Aston Martin has dropped quite a bit off.
Yeah, he's done the right thing. He did out of the way at quite a tricky spot in the lap.
Yeah. That looked close as he come back in
Yeah.
for a second then.
Harry maybe lost a couple tenths there, but nothing too major. Maybe half a second at a push. I think it's an interesting point though, because I realised a few races in that actually, we're open to all levels of driving, so we need to try and find a way to help the drivers that are less experienced get that experience. And half the time, it's not that they're deliberately doing things wrong; they just don't know. Some of them have never really raced in a series before, so it's completely new to them. As I see Renberg making comments in chat again.
My dad just texted me. Yeah, new tyres. Chief strategist over here.
I think it was based off what you were saying about just,
we was
you're more likely to finish. Right then, Harry's still dealing with traffic just up ahead. You can see he's now to the back of Piston Gone. In front of that is Phil Lima. So there's one for Martin. If we just look a couple cars further ahead.
Yeah, I mean, he's frantically flashing.
Piston Gone did just get out of the way eventually. Yeah. It was a little bit late there, but I think as soon as he saw it, he got out of the way. So again, there's a case in point. I think as soon as he saw it, he acted on it. He just perhaps didn't realise that was Harry until too late, 'cause he was busy fighting off Isla just a minute ago. Next up the road then is Phil Lima, who is currently running in P15. We actually lost a couple drivers. Again, I think some of them 20 minutes into a 2-hour race, and we've got people dropping out, which is always a shame to see.
Well, it's just a waste of reserve space.
Yeah. Well, it's a waste of the practice time as well, I would always think. You'd rather just see it through. But either way, there's Harry coming through on Phil Lima. Yeah, and that was actually a good way to not lose too much time himself.
He did that really well. That's like, we need to clip that on lap 18.
Yeah. This is how you deal with blue flags.
Yeah.
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you, Phil.
Got support of Martin in the chat, usually ready for the driver of the day vote later on. Wonder if Phil's got anyone else lined up this time, because occasionally we get a few people all just appear right at the end to vote, which is exactly what it's for. Encourages new people to come and join and say hello. Equally, if you are joining, as I say, do say hello and let us know where you're watching, and if this is new to you, if you don't watch racing normally, or if you've been roped into watching just so you can do the driver of the day vote and then you're going again, or whatever it might be. But yes, as we are looking then at lap 19, about, as I say, nearly a quarter of the way through, Harry Melvin is nicely out in front for InGear Motorsport by about 6 seconds over the next car back of Dominic Stallman, and then Buchan is just behind him by about 1 second, and Bart Van Maniquez has dropped back just a little bit, but still in the running for a top 5 finish for sure. So, getting more comments from your team strategist over there.
Yeah. On that note, actually, okay, so he has just asked me about, he hasn't directly asked this, but track temperature. What temperature are we currently running at?
25. If race director presses the button to bring the timing screen up again, then you can see in the top right that the track is optimum, so it's nicely gripped up. You can't on his. Well, there you go. I can tell you anyway that it's optimum, and it's going to maintain the same amount of weather as we see Arnold Das having a bit of a spin there on the screen. Looks like it didn't affect anyone too badly though. And then quite angry Renberg by the looks of some of the chat I've seen just up the road on Harry now. So it looks like then, so lap 20, 30 minutes in, and Harry is up to lapping 12th place at the moment. Renberg does get out of the way, just takes a moment to do it, I think. Makes Harry go the long way around. Here reports that Buchan might have run into a bit of trouble. Do you know, I've just noticed Sharman has pitted already. Now, I wonder if that was for damage or something rather than it won't be for strategy because you can't do an hour and 40 or 30 minutes on one tank. I don't think. I mean, that would be tight.
So I think the guys in the background, they're just going to look at this incident between Buchan and a back marker, because we definitely need to take a look at that, seeing as Buchan is in the championship.
Yeah.
Tonight, being hit by a back marker is like the opposite of what we were just talking about. So
yeah, if we jump to Buchan now on camera, actually, because he's having a nice little tussle with Bart, who just disappeared exit stage right and is now coming back on from stage right, stage left as we look at it on the back in the background there. So that was P3. Bart did get up into P3, then went wide for whatever reason, and then he's gone back on again. Interesting. A few things have all happened very quickly there, so we'll be seeing what happens. We have got the replay of the Hudson overtake as well, which we can show you. I'm just looking at Arnold Das getting out of the way. Oh, I just saw Bart dropping into the pits in the background as well. I wonder if he picked up damage somewhere. Potentially he been hearing he might have been giving the space back if it was him that caused the contact before. Or I was overtaking. It's alright, got George feeding information in my ear. It was him, Tyler, not Bart, that potentially clipped Buchan. Cool. Right, well, we'll get some replay sorted. But if race director's available, then we'll try and show you that Hudson overtake from earlier on, just so we can have a quick look at that, because it was quite a nice little move on Billingham. And actually, I haven't got that one to see personally yet until it actually goes live on the stream, but you can see it was quite late on the brakes, gets it stopped, onto the apex quite nicely and through. Very close to catching his rear quarter on Billingham, yeah. Yeah, no, it's a good move. That was like a firm elbows out, probably, as we were saying, from the back of what happened before.
I've just realised I'm typing to the guys in the WhatsApp conversation, and my spelling is horrendous, where I'm trying to type so quickly, write down notes, talk. It's not good, but we'll go with it. They know what I mean.
So let's take stock a little bit then, shall we? If we bring up the timing screen again, we can see then that Melvin is still out front. He's now got a 7.9 second lead, so he's extended that gap by just over a second from where we last looked at it, as we approach that just over the quarter mark. Dominic Stallman in P2 still, Buchan in P3, and French in P4. And I think we're just starting to have a little review of some of these incidents. Yeah, so we had that's a similar incident of what we had with Hamish, wasn't it, last time out? So that was Piston Gone that, whilst Buchan was coming past to lap him, then just didn't brake enough into the corner, clipped his rear end. Did Buchan actually go fully off?
Yeah, he lost the place.
Yeah, so he lost one place. So luckily it wasn't too bad. But
when you're in the position,
when you're in P3 fighting for a championship, it is bad enough. And actually, thinking about it, him and Dom Stallman, whoever finishes higher out of them, are going to take the championship as it stands.
Yeah.
So quite a pivotal moment there. There we are. Can see everyone's getting the admins working now. We're so basically we have a WhatsApp conversation in the background where we can all chat amongst ourselves around incidents and share videos, but as you can imagine, trying to commentate on what's live and them guys are also trying to do their things and look at clips for socials and get the replays to load and all sorts, so it's a bit tricky, but yeah, we get there in the end. And basically what's just been decided was a 15-second penalty for Piston Gone, which to be fair is pretty lenient for potentially costing someone a championship. Which was for going into the back of Buchan as he was lapping him, basically, as I was just saying. So It is something we're trying to get tougher with because you can't